So, all right. My name is Michael Boyd. I am Director of Football Development at the Irish FA. I'd like to thank Linhall Library for inviting me to give a chat about the Football for All campaign. The Football for All campaign started in 2000, in February 2000, and it was supported through the Community Relations Council and the Special EU Programmes body. Under Piece 1, the funding was secured through the Community Relations Council and Sport NI to enable the Irish FA to have a community relations officer. And I started in that position in February 2000, and one of the first things that I did was write a Football for All strategy and policy. And basically, in summary, it was about how we're going to make the sport of football more fun, safe and inclusive moving forward. So developed a strategy, set up an advisory panel to help make sure that the strategy was implemented. The advisory panel was made up of key stakeholders who would help make sure that the strategy was implemented and resourced properly. So it had members from the Irish FA senior staff. It had the amalgamation of Northern Ireland supporters clubs who were represented on the panel. It had members from the Community Relations Council who were helping to support and fund the project with the peace money. It also had representatives from Sport NI and representatives from Ulster University, so there was an academic angle as well to it. So really the Football for All campaign was supported by those key groups and was resourced by those key groups. And probably the most important part of the panel was the fans, because a lot of how the Football for All campaign was judged between 2000 and 2010 was around international Northern Ireland matches to make sure that they were becoming more family friendly, more fun, more safe, more inclusive. So through the Football for All campaign and the advisory panel, we created some new campaigns like the Say Green, the community ticket scheme and Anti-Sectarian Workshops for schools and community groups. Most of the ideas that we implemented through the strategy and through the panel came from the fans. So one of the reasons I think Football for All was successful in this time period was because fans were seen to be at the heart of the changes, and we were making a positive step forward to say, look, the sport of football is for everybody, regardless of your religion, your gender, your background. You should be able to enjoy football, and you should be able to get behind the Northern Ireland team. So we started this campaign. We started with these new ideas. The Safe Green is probably one of the biggest campaigns over the last sort of 20 years, where we've seen a transformation in what it looked like with regards to the supporters in the stands supporting the team. The Safe Green idea came from a Northern Ireland fan who put it forward to us as an idea. We took it to the advisory group and it fitted lovely with our strategic plans to make the sport more safe, fun and inclusive. Really the basic idea of it was the Northern Ireland team plays in green and white. So let's encourage the fans to wear green and white to show their support for all the players and all the team. A very basic, simple idea that was really copying really what the Dutch were doing with their Sea of Orange, getting behind the Dutch national football team. And I always remember the name of the fan who came to us with the idea was a guy called Gareth Todd, who's still a big Northern Ireland fan to this day. And he came to us and he said, why can't we do this? And it'll help, with the atmosphere, because we'll see more people there behind the team wearing the green and white. And I think prior to this, you would have seen maybe a lot more people wearing red, white and blue at the Northern Ireland matches. And I think Gareth and the guys behind the Safe Green, what they were trying to say was, look, going to a Northern Ireland match isn't about you're putting forward your politics or who you support politically. It's about getting behind a team of players that represent all sections of our community in Northern Ireland. So let's show solidarity with the players. Let's wear the green and white. Let's get behind the team. Something that everybody can do, and let's encourage it. So a very simple thing, simple idea, and sometimes the best ideas and the most effective are simple ones. So we set aside a bit of budget. We paid for leaflets to go out with the tickets. We spoke to the fans groups. The amalgamation encouraged their members to get behind it. And for the next few games, we saw this transformation happening at the ground. So there was suddenly more and more people, wearing the green and white of the team. We also give out a lot of green and white Football for All t-shirts and foam hands and green and white wigs, and we had lots of little things going on around the stadium that were community driven and supported by the fans. And slowly but surely over the next sort of 5 or 6 games, you saw this transformation happen. And not only that, you started to see more of almost like a celebration at the games, where people were coming together and saying, there's something happening here around this Football for All campaign, there's something happening with this Safe Green campaign, and everybody started to get a bit of a buzz from it. And even when the team maybe weren't doing so well on the pitch, the fans were starting to create something really special off the pitch in the stands with regards to the atmosphere, and bringing more families and more people back to get behind the team. And it was restoring a sense of pride really in what it meant to support the Northern Ireland football team. And if today in 2020, it's normal for us to see Windsor Park, the National Football Stadium, totally sold out, full of Northern Ireland fans, full of families. But back in 2000, when we were starting these types of initiatives, you could get crowds as low as 4,000 at an international match, and the atmosphere maybe wasn't so family friendly or so positive. So things like the Safe Green really played their part in making sure that the experience of being a Northern Ireland fan became a much better experience for everybody. And today it's very normal, to have a culture at the games where people are wearing the green and white of the team, and they're there to get behind the team, get behind all the players in the team. So it's a very normal experience now. The community ticket scheme was also another initiative that we pushed forward. Again, this was an idea that came from the supporters themselves. They were saying, look, back in 2001, 2002, we still weren't selling out the stadium. There were still lots of empty seats. So the Northern Ireland fans, they came and they said, look, let us get some free tickets to give out to community groups in our areas. We will invite them in, have them as our guests, and make sure that we support the Football for All atmosphere and the momentum that was building. So through the community ticket scheme, we were able to give the supporters clubs 20 free tickets each, which they then went to a local primary school, local community group, local BB, local scouts, whatever it was. They give out their free tickets, and they invited the group to come to Windsor Park. And often it was young people who it was their first ever experience, of coming to the Northern Ireland match. And through the community ticket scheme, we saw more and more young people connected to the international team. And I always remember most of the community tickets were in the lower deck of the West Stand of the Cop, where most of the Amalgamations fans were. And it was really interesting to me to see the ownership the fans then took of the atmosphere and the songs that were being sung at the Northern Ireland matches on the back of the community ticket scheme. It was almost like they were saying, look, we have our guests in the stadium. Let's make sure we put on a really good atmosphere so that they enjoy the experience and they go back and they tell their parents and guardians and friends and family that coming to a Northern Ireland match is a good experience and it's for everybody in the community. So community ticket scheme worked really well. What's fascinating to me now is sometimes people will come up to me and they'll say, and they're no longer little kids, they're adults, and they come up to me and they say, my first ever game was through the community ticket scheme. And my parents weren't sure, about me going to the Northern Ireland match because they thought it would be a bad atmosphere, it'd be dangerous, all that sort of stuff. And we had a brilliant experience. And on the back of the community ticket scheme, they encouraged their parents or their families to become block bookers. So a whole new generation of fans that had maybe been lost previously because of the poor atmosphere that had been built up, during the 90s and 2000s. You had this whole new generation coming back through the community ticket scheme. And if it hadn't been for the fans suggesting that as a concept or as an idea, it might not have ever happened. So a whole load of new fans started to appear and started to become connected to the team. And the ownership of the atmosphere was really taken on by the amalgamation of Northern Ireland supporters clubs through the community ticket scheme. And they made sure that they self-stewarded, if you like. They make sure that there was no sectarian songs being sung. And that the songs being created, the new ones, were free from sectarianism. And that was really important. And the community ticket scheme and Save Green sort of dovetailed nicely to make sure that the Northern Ireland fans were working in partnership with the Irish FA through the Football for All campaign to make a better atmosphere for everybody. And then really the icing on cake of what we were doing with the Northern Ireland fans during this time was the Anti-Sectarian Workshops that we developed and delivered in schools and community groups. And that was really important, actually. a lot of schools and a lot of community groups, struggle on how to deal with those types of issues. Because we had developed a plan and implemented it and seen a change in atmosphere around the Northern Ireland matches, the Northern Ireland fans had a really powerful story to tell. So we made that into a workshop utilising a very straightforward PowerPoint presentation, and Northern Ireland fans co-designed and developed the workshop and told their stories about what they did to tackle sectarianism at the ground, at the international games, to basically create the football for all atmosphere that we enjoy today. And they went into the schools and they told the young people about why they were doing it, why it's important to tackle issues like racism and sectarianism, why it's important that all the players from all different parts of the community represent the Northern Ireland team. And it's important that we can celebrate that fact that when you go to the games, it's everybody from Northern Ireland, whether you feel British, Irish, Northern Irish. The sporting identity is the main thing. Football for all is the main thing when people go to the games. And that message was delivered really powerfully by fans who had transformed the atmosphere through their actions and through their ideas in schools and in community groups. And the feedback we got from those workshops, from the teachers, from the schools, the community leaders, was fantastic. And it really made a big difference, I think, helping support the community sector and the school sector with regards to tackling issues around racism and sectarianism. So, lots happened in the first sort of 10 years of Football for All. One of the things I should mention was in 2006, we won the Brussels International Supporters Award. And that was for two reasons. And I actually nominated the fans for this award, and it was backed by the EU and UEFA. The two main reasons I nominated them for the award was, one, for the work they had done tackling the issue of sectarianism, which was really important, and two, for their charity work. And not a lot of people know this, but the Amalgamation of Northern Ireland Supporters Clubs regularly, and Northern Ireland fans supporters groups, regularly raise money for charities both home and abroad, and they do some amazing work to help people who are maybe underprivileged or in difficult circumstances. And they don't look a lot of publicity for that. And I made sure in the application that I mentioned and referenced that. And also the anti-sectarian work that they'd been involved in. At that time, there was no other movement like it in Northern Ireland, which was really dedicated to creating an atmosphere that was free from sectarianism. And the work that they'd done from the terrible incident in 2001 where Neil Lennon, who was playing for Northern Ireland, received a sectarian death threat. From there to 2006, where we were basically now selling out the grounds, and there was a real Football for All movement, which was fan-driven, was an incredible journey. And I think they deserve that recognition from the EU and UEFA to say, yes, something magnificent has happened here, not just on the pitch, but off the pitch, more importantly, in tackling sectarianism. And for little Northern Ireland and for our fans to win that European-wide and sort of global award, if you like, for making a difference was incredible. And to top it all off, we were presented the award. The Northern Ireland fans were presented the award before we played Spain, and it was the great Spanish team that won the World Cup and won the European Championships. And we beat them at Windsor Park with David Healy, scoring a hat-trick. It was an incredible night, and I always remember in the railway stand at the stadium, we had it full of cross-community groups. At this point, all those tickets, 500 tickets, went to cross-community groups at every game, and the whole stadium was going absolutely mental because we were winning this game against this absolutely world-class team, and we just won this award. Jim Rainey received it on behalf of the Northern Ireland fans and the Amalgamation of Northern Ireland Supporters Clubs, and then we beat Spain, and I was celebrating with this cross-community group, and it was right up there as one of the best ever football experiences that I've ever had. So that was tremendous. And then a few years later, in 2010, we had a big piece of research carried out which looked at the social return on investment of the Football for All campaign. It really looked at the social and economic impact that Football for All had on Northern Ireland football, and making the brand more inclusive and making the sport more socially responsible. And basically what that research said is that all that peace money and Community Relations Council support over the years had transformed what Northern Ireland football was about. And by 2010, people were starting to talk about Northern Ireland football as being at the forefront with regards to tackling issues around sectarianism. And we were being held up regularly at conferences at UEFA and FIFA as a model of good practice with regards to engaging and working in partnership with fans to create a more inclusive culture. So that was really good, important piece of research that we had in 2010. On the back of that research, the main IFA board and the Irish FA senior team decided to make Football for All absolutely central to the new corporate strategy. And in 2013, they launched a new corporate strategy which had the vision statement to be to foster, develop and promote Football for All across Northern Ireland. And that really put Football for All at the front and centre of everything that the Irish FA does. And since 2013, I can honestly say Football for All has been 100% one of the key messages that the Irish FA is committed to. So that was fantastic to see, and that was on the back of that research which really captured the value of the work that we'd been doing for the previous 13 years. In 2016, Northern Ireland then went on to qualify for the Euros, and that was a tremendous boost for everybody under the manager of Michael O'Neill. We qualified for France in the Euros, and as a result of that, we were given some qualification money by UEFA, which we were able to invest in a charity arm called the Foundation. Now, the first time the concept for the Foundation came up was when we got the social return on investment research that I previously mentioned, where it said at some point in the future when we're able to, we should set up a charitable arm so we can harness all the good work that we do in the community using football as a hook, not only for good relations but for all the other programs that we run as well. So yeah, we had the ability now to do this in 2016 because of the success of the international team, and we set up the Irish FA Foundation, and we're really proud of the charitable arm of the foundation. It has three main wings to it. One is around schools football and futsal. The second is around grassroots football, and that's all about people and clubs and club and volunteer development. And then the third wing is all about Football for All. How can we use sport, and in particular the sport of football, to make a meaningful difference to people in the community across Northern Ireland? And the work that the foundation does, we're now in 2020, it's not just about getting kids playing football. That is a big part of it, but it's not just about that. It's about how we use football for mental health, how we use it for education, how we use it for employability, how we use it for crime prevention. And today we have programs connected to all those themes. For health, we have the Ahead of the Game mental health program, and one of our ambassadors is Keith Gillespie. We deliver around about 40 free workshops a year using football as a hook that address issues around mental health. We have a support network in place so that if somebody from a football club or a community group needs additional support around mental health, we can signpost them to a mentor. We have education officers who deliver BTECs, who deliver programs in schools and in colleges across the country. We have partnerships with schools through our Quality Mark program, through our Performance Academy, through Ulster University, through part-time degrees, through BTECs, through football development schools like Ashfield. We have so much going on in that sector, and so many pathways for young boys and girls to stay in education and actually use football as their main interest to go through school and to go through college. We're really proud of that. We were picked by UEFA actually as a pilot for that education programme, and in 2020 now UEFA make funds available to all the countries in the UEFA network to apply for support to do similar programmes. So in many ways Northern Ireland led the way, showing that you could develop bespoke football education programmes and make it a success in schools and colleges. And we're very, very proud of that work, and we've big plans actually to make the National Football Stadium more of a college, if you like, in the future, so that more and more young people can benefit from education programmes and health programmes at the stadium. We also have the Stadium Community Benefits Initiative, and part of the rationale behind getting the stadium revamped in 2015, 2015, 2016, we got the stadium really revamped. Part of the rationale was that we would have a Stadium Community Benefits Initiative so that we would work in partnership with stakeholders from the local community to benefit the local community. And we run lots of programs for elderly, for young people who are unemployed, young people who've fallen outside of education, and we run them from the stadium, and we work in partnership with Belfast City Council and Department for Communities and Linfield Football Club to make sure that these programs work and that they're benefiting local kids and local people from the local community through the Stadium Community Benefits. We also have a Employability Academy where we partner with an organisation called UCEL, And really what we're doing there is we're looking to help people with mental health issues or disabilities to get them ready so that they're able to go into employment. So we do that through our disability manager, works with the employability guys at UCell. And we run 6-week program at the stadium where we do the pre-employability training. So we're building up their confidence. We're giving them skills with regards to presentations, coach education, referee education. And then they spend a further amount of time with the UCell guys doing more of the employability training as well. At the end of it, we offer them, for the ones who go through the whole program, they get an opportunity to work in our disability camps. They work in our holiday camps, and they get casual employment as a result of it. And they also get support from UCell if they want to work at UCell as well, and they get mentors and support programs put in place. So that Employability Academy's worked really well, and it's our first sort of attempt at looking at an Employability Academy. And I think moving forward, we're going to see a lot more of those types of programs, in particular looking at BME groups and girls and women, making sure that there's more role models and more coaches and more referees from underrepresented groups working in the sport of football and working in the community and being visible role models in the community. And these types of academies are going to be really progressed and developed in the future. I should have said earlier, actually, I was just thinking back when I was talking about the transformation of Football for All. One of the reasons we knew Football for All was working was there was a spell before Michael O'Neill came in and before Laurie Sanchez, where Northern Ireland weren't doing so well on the pitch. And we actually broke a world record for amount of minutes played on the pitch without scoring a goal, which we're not proud of, but it happened, and it was one of those phases that Northern Ireland football can occasionally go through. But during that spell, we had loads of new supporters clubs springing up, and the reason we knew Football for All was happening and there was a movement and there was something connecting with the fans was even when we weren't doing well on the pitch, new supporters clubs were springing up. More people were coming back, more families were coming back. People were engaged in the Sea of Green, they were engaged in the community ticket scheme. People were also, things like the Neil Lennon incident actually acted as a catalyst for people to say, right, what can we do about this? That's not right. And then when they found out about Football for All, they got engaged, they got volunteered. And I remember during the spell where we didn't score many goals on the pitch, we had 12 new supporters clubs sprung up and were created and are still going strong to this day. I actually think from the beginning of Football for All to today, we went from about 12 supporters clubs to 50 plus supporters clubs. So there was something about reclaiming what it meant to be a Northern Ireland fan through Football for All and saying, yeah, it is about being inclusive. It is about getting behind all the teams, whether no matter what religion they were from or what background they were from. If they were willing to give 100% for the Northern Ireland jersey and the Northern Ireland football team, then we want to get behind them and we want to celebrate that. So something happened there which was remarkable, and it was really a pleasure to play my part supporting the fans in relation to that. Today my job is around football development, and I pretty much lead the foundation, which I touched on. And one of the things now with the foundation is we have about 70,000 young people involved in our programs. We have 30 structured programs which are driven by our Irish FA staff and our partners, and 70,000 young people are involved in those programs. And what we make sure is that the Football for All message is embedded in every program that we run. So whether it's an Employability Academy, whether it's you're doing a BTEC, whether you're doing coach education, you're doing ahead of the game, mental health program, whatever it is, we will touch and reinforce the Football for All message as part of that program, because it's been totally mainstreamed into everything the foundation does. I'm very proud to help run the foundation for the Irish FA. There's more than 50 full-time staff and about 250 part-time casual staff, and thousands of volunteers who make that 70,000 number real with regards to the participants. So in the last 2 years, we've been awarded the UEFA Gold standard, and basically UEFA do a review of all the FAs in Europe to see what are they doing in the community, what are they doing for participation, how are they using football as a hook for education, employability, and they come out and they assess, they do an audit, and then they ask for lots of information to be sent in. It goes to a committee and they assess it, and then they give you an award. The Irish FA had never got gold before, And it's only in the last 2 years, since 2018, that we've started to receive the gold status. And to give you an idea of what that means, if there's 55 countries at UEFA, only 8 other countries, including ourselves, have gold status, because we're fully committed to investing in youth, investing in community programs, using football to address issues like racism and sectarianism. And one of the things UEFA said to us, one of the reasons we got gold was our commitment to tackling the issue of racism, which is still a big issue across the world. And last year, before the pandemic, we delivered around 200 free Show Racism the Red Card workshops in schools and community groups. And people said to us, why are you delivering this if you don't get any additional funding, or you're not getting funding, for an anti-racism campaign specifically? Why are you doing it? And the answer is always, it's the right thing to do. It cements the Football for All message. It cements the Football for All campaign. It's important to us that when we're engaging young people that they get training around this area, because still to this day there's not a great lot of training in schools or community groups around tackling the issue of racism or sectarianism. So it's very important to us. And through the likes of our street leagues and partnership with groups like Street Soccer NI, it's very important to us to support people from like refugee and asylum seeker backgrounds to be able to play football and get involved in football. And we're looking at new programs where we can actually do more to support BME groups across the country. So yeah, I've touched on quite a bit of what we do. One of the programs which we're really proud of, which is just started in September in 2020, is called the Fresh Start program, and that builds on our crime prevention work, previously called the Stay On Side program. And up until recently, football was the only sport that was going into all the prisons across the country, Maghaberry, Hyde Bank, all the different institutions where there's prisons. We were in there delivering programs using football as a hook to help people get onto a more positive path, so that when they leave prison, they can volunteer, or they can get involved and contribute to society in a more positive way. We were the only sport that was taken on by separated prisoners, and I think that shows the trust that we've built up in the prisons as good delivery partners. Through the new Fresh Start program, which is now funded through Department of Justice and Department for Communities through the Tackling Paramilitarism Fund, we are actually now bringing in GAA, Belfast Giants, Ulster Rugby to work alongside us. And some of those other sports already had programs in some of the prisons, but now we're working as a collective to make sure that we are using the full power of sport, if you like, across Northern Ireland to engage young people who are maybe in danger of going down the wrong path with regards to getting involved in paramilitaries. And the sports are collectively putting together programs where each sport will deliver modules that they're strong on, to help these young people, both men and women and boys and girls, to get on the right path in the future. Now, we've got funding for that until March 21, and we're really, really keen to develop that further moving forward, to build on the work that we're doing around crime prevention, because it's such an important piece of work. So yeah, we're flat out doing lots. The Football for All journey started off way back in 2000. We're in 2020, and it feels like we've only really got started. And to get things like the Gold Standard Award and the Brussels International Supporters Award are brilliant recognition for our staff and our volunteers and the Northern Ireland fans. Obviously, in 2020, we've had this pandemic, which we're still in the middle of. And it's had a massive impact on everybody right across the world. Some of the things that we've had to adapt and improve on is our online and digital content. So we are now getting pretty good at delivering webinars and seminars online to schools, to community relations groups. Peace program has been delivered ongoing, where we work with GAA and also Rugby to deliver good relations workshops and seminars. And we're approaching Good Relations Week, and we have a whole load of programs around being an inclusive club, and examples from GAA clubs, football clubs, rugby clubs, and all of that's been done online. And our club and volunteer development work has been ongoing throughout the pandemic, where we've been encouraging clubs and volunteers to upskill, get their club marks, get their volunteer awards, get their gold mark awards. So it's been non-stop. We are now, thankfully, in a position where we're bringing programs back. And things like our McDonald's Fun Football, our Electric Ireland Shooting Stars, our nationwide Back in the Game football programs for veterans, our Power Chair Football, which is supported by BT. All these programs are now starting to come back and we're starting to be able to put coaches back on the ground. Obviously, we're having to put in protocols and safety measures and do extra risk assessments because of COVID-19. But we are managing that, and we're starting to see Football for All coming back. Football for All remains our key focus as an association. It will take time on the back of the pandemic to build things back up to where they were before this all happened. But we are confident and committed to making sure that Football for All continues for the next 20 years, and that we drive things forward and we do more to support the community and serve the community better, because that's basically what Football for All is about. It's about serving the community and using football as a hook to do so. So I think I'm just saying I've done my 30 minutes there. If anybody has any questions and they want to follow up with me direct, you can get me at mboyd, all lowercase, one word, at irishfa.com. And I'd be happy to talk to you and pick that email up with you to see if we can get you involved in the work that we're doing. Okay, thanks for the opportunity today, and good luck.